Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really honored and privileged to be able to introduce our next guest. The National Rifle Association is back, ladies and gentlemen. How many people are members? Okay, good. I'll tell you how to join when we're done. Give you a really cool promo code to use too. National Rifle Association CEO and Executive Director, Executive Vice President, Doug Hamlin. Doug, welcome, my friend, and thank you for being here. Great to see you. Appreciate it. You got it.
Well, I look at an audience like this, and first thing I think to myself is, this is a celebration of freedom. We're here because we love our country, and we believe in the Second Amendment, and we know without it, our freedoms are in jeopardy of being compromised. And Second Amendment rights in the United States of America have never been stronger than they are today. And it's because of the work of so many of you that are here who have given so freely of your time and your resources. And it starts with the Second Amendment Foundation and Alan Gottlieb, Adam Kraut. I also want to shout out to my good friend Chris Cox, who was very generous in his remarks earlier. This is the 50th anniversary of NRA's Institute for Legislative Action. Chris led that organization for 19 years. Big round of applause for Chris. And there were a lot of wins during those years, big wins. I also want to recognize and thank a couple of the NRA board members that are here, Amanda Suffolcool and John Richardson. Big round of applause for our board members. Great volunteers. And also Frank Miniter, who's here. Frank is the executive, editor-in-chief of America's First Freedom magazine and website. Frank Miniter, thanks for being here from New York State. So I just need to remind some folks that NRA has a tremendous history, 154, soon to be 155 years. Very, very proud history. We've had 9 U.S. presidents that have been members of the National Rifle Association. Teddy Roosevelt, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, who many think would be a Republican today. And then President Donald J. Trump, the most pro-Second Amendment president in the history of this country. Big round of applause for our sitting president and what he's doing. I heard Jim talk about fairness in banking. I mean, he's pursuing banking. Meta and Google are on their heels because the censorship that they were doing was out of control. And your NRA's been working really hard to change that. But it starts with leadership. And we have leadership in Washington. Finally, our prayers were answered. So, NRA's been through some tough legal battles. That's no secret to a group like this. But think about this. The New York Attorney General tried to dissolve the National Rifle Association. She failed. And if she couldn't dissolve us, she wanted to put a monitor in charge of the NRA. That'd be like having a fox in the chicken house. They failed in that as well. Give it up. And while we've been fighting and distracted and resources have been paid to litigators, it's been brutal. We've had 2 Supreme Court victories in the last 3 years alone. We've talked a lot about Bruin, so I'm not going to get into that, but that is a earth-shattering, NRA-backed, legislative, judicial, you name it, it will live on. Bruin is top of mind in the United States right now. And then we talk about lawfare. And Jim also talked about if you don't have a bank and you don't have insurance, your business is not going to be around very long. And that was our First Amendment win, NRA versus Vullo, who was the director of financial services in the state of New York. And that case is going to have long-lasting precedent, long-lasting implications. So where are we today? You know, I mean, we've been fighting hard on all fronts. We're rebuilding right now. We're rebuilding the trust of our our donors, our industry, our staff, and you, our members. And I am here to tell you, on my watch, there will be no malfeasance. We've cleaned house. I've made management changes in every one of our 5 divisions. So trust in the NRA again, and put the word out, because you're all influencers. We need your help. We need membership to start moving north again. We're getting back to basics. Braxton from Montana, I'm not sure if he's still here, but he said back in the 50s, NRA was all about education and training. Well, we are adding to our education and training department. We are bringing folks back into our community services area, so our clubs and associations are being focused on right now. We're expanding our frontage in competitive shooting, because we think that that's the avenue to bring younger, newer members in. So we've got an America's Rifle Challenge. We're also going to be getting into the shotgun sports, because we know 70% of the people out there in competitive shooting, they shoot shotgun. So the mainstream media, and what have they done other than allocate roughly $1 billion to wreck the NRA, try to knock the NRA down? And why'd they do it? Because without the National Rifle Association, you probably don't get Donald Trump in 2016. You don't get Gorsuch, Coney Barrett, and Kavanaugh in the United States Supreme Court. Our country would have been very different than the country we are fortunate to live in today. So the NRA, and when Chris writes his book, he'll tell you a lot more about it than I will, because he lived it. But your NRA delivered in 16, but the dividends from our member dues that were allocated to that campaign, to that election cycle, will resonate for many, many years. So big round of applause for our past success, but we know how to do this, and we will rebuild, and we will do it again in the future. So we talked a little bit about one big, beautiful bill. The NFA and the tax stamp on short-barreled rifles and suppressors, that's gone. I'm pretty happy about that. I know we're not entirely satisfied in this room, but that was a generational accomplishment. And your NRA, your Institute for Legislative Action, our lobbyists, worked with everybody in this room to get that done. So congratulations to everybody that was involved in that success. And going forward, continuing on the theme of working together, in Brown versus ATF in the state of Missouri, we filed in the district court there, U.S. District Court, with the American Suppressor Association, the Second Amendment Foundation, and also the Firearms Policy Coalition, as far as the constitutionality of the NFA. So stay tuned on that. So we're riding high in the White House, got a majority in the House and the Senate, but this is no time to gloat. We've got to be ready for the attack that we know inevitably will be coming. So we need to continue to work together on all fronts as we prepare for the midterms that are just around the corner. So I believe this is a season for opportunity. We need to stand shoulder to shoulder. We need to preserve liberty for our children and for future generations. And as President Reagan said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, it must be protected, and handed on down for them to do the same. So in conclusion, for me, this is not a job. I know for you, it is not a job either. This is a calling. We're doing important work. We're doing freedom's work. And it's my honor to serve you in the EVP assignment. And I look forward to standing shoulder to shoulder with each one of you in the future. God bless all of you. Thank you, Second Amendment Foundation. God bless America. Thank you.